Welcome to the Phone Arena video review of the HTC EVO 4G. The EVO 4G is definitely the IT device of the year so far, and rightfully so. It sports absolutely monster specs, such as a 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, 4.3-inch display, 8 megapixel rear camera, and 1.3 megapixel front, all backed by Android and HTC's Sense UI. On top of that, the kicker is that it runs on Sprint's 4G network, making this the first 4G device available to consumers. As you can see, the EVO 4G is big. We have medium-sized hands, and it overwhelms them. It's not entirely overwhelming though. It feels very sturdy. It's a thin device, clocking in at just over 12 millimeters. For comparison, Sprint's Hero is 14. It actually feels pretty good in your pocket. While it's very tall, the thinness allows it to just slide right in. It is heavy, however. 6 ounces is much more than most of the other phones on the market, even premium phones like the iPhone. The construction is extremely solid, however. There isn't a loose wiggle or anything that you can be found on the EVO 4G. One of the unique features is the kickstand. This allows us to set the EVO 4G down and watch video on the large screen. The kickstand is spring-loaded. As you can see, it doesn't close until we get it to a certain part. Then it kind of snaps in on its own. The mechanism is very sturdy, and we have no doubt that this will hold up for the life of the phone. You can see a little bit of the red peeking behind the kickstand, as well as along the camera, and just a touch on the top. Like the recent Droid Incredible, HTC has gone with an entirely red backing of the phone. We really like it. It's bold, and as Ferrari red, it's fast. Fast is an excellent way to describe the EVO 4G. It runs Android 2.1 with HTC's custom interface, something we've seen before on phones like the Droid Incredible and even Sprint's Hero. However, we've never experienced it like this before. The 1 GHz Snapdragon processor absolutely flies. We haven't experienced a hiccup yet in a lot of time with this device. Menus are quick, apps open, and web pages fly. Of course, the speed of 4G is going to make the phone even faster. Video calling, web browsing, and all the data-intensive items really come to life when you're on 4G. As you can see, the bottom of the phone has 2 ports. This one here is your standard micro USB port for charging and data. HTC has been late to jump on the bandwagon with this, but we are glad to see it in this. The other port is a micro HDMI. That's right, the EVO 4G does HDMI output, full 1080p. This means you can be playing a YouTube video on your device and plug it into your TV. An optional docking cradle will make it even easier, since you can simply set the phone down and run everything. For those that don't want the cradle, a cable is also available. The 8 megapixel camera is capable of shooting 720p video, so the EVO 4G does HD on its own. Getting back to the design a little bit, as we mentioned, there are 4 capacitive buttons on the bottom. We'll find Home, Menu, Back, and Search. We saw a lot of issues with the Nexus 1, where you had to hit these buttons just the right way. Thankfully, this is not the case with the EVO, and if you simply press where you think you'd press, everything works as it should. It gives us a nice little vibration when we touch it to confirm that we've touched. We haven't experienced any issues with them whatsoever. There's a volume rocker to the side of the phone. It is raised slightly, so when you run your finger over it, it's easy to tell where it is and control the volume without looking. At the top is the 3.5mm headset jack, as well as the power button. As you can see, the power button is raised a little bit, not quite as much as the volume rocker, but we didn't have any issues finding and pressing it to turn the device off. Like we said, there's an 8 megapixel camera on the back, as well as a dual LED flash. To the right of it is the phone's single speaker. The HTC logo is inlaid in chrome, something that adds a touch of class to the device. HTC has always been known for premium devices. However, the EVO 4G is one of their best to date, if not the best yet. The one thing we're disappointed to see is the silver speaker grille. On earlier prototypes, it was red, like the Droid Incredible. Like the red accents on the back, we really think this would have given the EVO 4G a little bit more personality. However, we can't say that the silver looks bad. All in all, the 4G is a big slab. The giant 4.3-inch screen is absolutely beautiful. We had very little issues reading it outside. Multi-touch works well, and it looks great. That said, HTC continues to only use 65,000 colors in the display, as opposed to at least 262,000, or even better yet, 16 million, like the iPhone, the Pre, or the Motorola Droid. There's not a huge difference, and only the most discerning eye would notice it, but on such a high-end device, we would have liked to see the most high-end specs available. There has been some rumblings about the fact that this is a TFT display as opposed to AMOLED. However, we have no issues with it. It's bright, it's crisp, it's vibrant, and we can read it outdoors. We'll take a quick look at the Sense UI, although like we said, there's nothing really new here. Here we have our app drawer, which is going to have everything that the phone comes with for now. We haven't downloaded anything yet. You can see the quick video, which will offer 3G video chat, as well as 4G. There's a rumor that this is going to be $4.99 a month. However, this is yet to be confirmed. The standard quick program, which streams off the back camera or the main camera, but does not do both, and does not offer the chat, is free. One of the other intriguing apps is the Sprint Hotspot. Sprint Hotspot is very simple to use. Here we have a little quick tutorial. It's asking us to name it, and it sets up a default password, although we can change the security as well as the password. Up at the top, we simply press to turn it on. It's processing, and it's going to be broadcasting Wi-Fi here in a second. It's very easy and quick to set up. We had no issues with it, and everything's working well. One of the nice features is that one of the widgets that we can have, let's add it real quick. We have the hotspot. This gives us a toggle switch, so we can quickly turn it on and off right from the home screen. One of the best things about the hotspot is that it's only $29.99 a month, half the price of a standard Air card. It can also connect up to 8 devices, as opposed to the 5 we've seen with the Overdrive and MiFi. Lastly, and best, is that there's no 5 gig cap. Sprint currently doesn't have a cap and says they don't plan to implement one for 4G Air cards. However, even over 3G, there's no 5 gig limit like you'll find on other cards. While we think this will cannibalize some Air card sales, we think it's a great move by Sprint. Of course, they weren't going to give it away for free. We know Verizon does that with the Palm Pre, but that's to drive sales. The EVO 4G will sell itself, and the mobile hotspot's a great feature to have. Back to the software. As you can see, the leak feature is enabled on this. We can quickly jump between our home screens. Again, everything is super quick here. There are a couple different keyboard options. Here's the full QWERTY, but we can also switch to the compact QWERTY or phone keypad. The device is so big that even the portrait mode, the QWERTY is very easy to use. However, if we flip it around, it gets even better. That brings up another point. As we said earlier, even though it's big, the EVO feels pretty good in the hand and solid. It does overwhelm us a little bit, but nothing that's a deal breaker. In 2 hands, it's extraordinarily comfortable. This is obviously the way the device was meant to be held. Browsing the web, typing out emails and text messages is much better two-handed. Everything's better widescreen. Other than that, there's really not too much new to say about the Sense UI. It runs quick, and this is how we envisioned that HTC drew it up in the first place. We honestly don't have anything significant to say about the EVO that's negative. Everything is amazing. It runs quick, everything works well, and it's all backed by the quickest network out there. Yes, 4G isn't all that prevalent yet. It's only available in about 30 markets, but Sprint plans to be aggressive in their rollout, already announcing major cities like Boston, Cincinnati, and many others. They expect to cover 120 million people by the end of the year, which means if you live in a metropolitan area, chances are you're going to have 4G. then the EVO will really come to life. That said, the EVO 4G is still the best 3G phone out there. It's extraordinarily fast. It has features that may be matched individually, but not in a summation. There's truly no device out there like the EVO. This is the best and the greatest phone right now.